Howdy folks, Little John in the kitchen, Extractaganza number 13, and today we're doing the last of the kits that I got sent by Reese Williams, and that is this fella. I've just dragged it out of the sink, Cooper's Real Ale. He's in the sink softening up in some hot water. So what I'm doing today, I'm going to do half batch of the ale, brewed as per Cooper's instructions. As I said before, Reese has sent me the right things. The recommended is 1 kilo of BE2, Brew Enhancer 2. So I'll be using half a kilo of that with the half a tin in a batch, and I'm going to brew that, or ferment that more specifically, with a Nottingham yeast. Just one pack. I'm just going to pop that in as it is, dry, and away it should go. So there'll be going to be about 11 litres of that. Standard sort of pub ale is what I'm assuming we're going to get. I haven't made a real ale for a long time. I do remember back in the day, didn't make a bad beer. The other half we pump it up, and what I'll be doing is, realistically, I'm trying to make that into somewhere or something that's going to represent an old ale and an English strong ale. So it's maltier, higher alcohol. Yeah, just more of the good things. So I'll be adding to half a tin, 1 tin of Cooper's amber malt, boost it up, and half a kilo of old mate dextrose. And this is just to balance out all the sweetness and the unfermentables in the extract can. 4 litres of water here. I'm going to put 400 grams of amber malt in there, bring that to a boil. I'm going to add 28 grams of EKG, or 1 ounce if you're American, and I don't really know why you'd want to know what this measurement in imperial is compared to everything else in metric, but there you go. I'm going to boil that for 15 minutes to get me some extra flavour to compensate for all this extra malt we're going to have in this brew. This half I'm going to ferment with 2 packets of London. Now again, one of these came from Reese in the pack of yeast he sent me. I have one floating around as well. So 2 packs are going in. One's in date, one's just out of date. So just to make sure. So I'm going to get this underway a little bit. Get some water up happening, get things going. I'm treating the water, as always, with a little bit of calcium absorbate and a touch of sodium metabisulfate, just to make sure we're getting rid of the chlorine and any chloramine in the water. I've noticed that in the last sort of couple of months my tap water has gotten a much more noticeable chlorine nose on it, and I don't know exactly why that is, but it certainly has happened. So whether they've changed their dosing method or not, I'm not sure, but we'll be taking measures to get rid of that. So I'm going to put some of this stuff together. Back soon. Rightio. That's our boil done with our hops. So we'll pull it off the heat. Get our hops out. That's them. Done. There you are. Get the rest of our malt into here. This is nice and hot, it dissolves easy. And I've taken it off the heat so we're not going to burn anything just dropping it in. It's good and thick. I'm happy with that. in. Sure it's all mixed. Now I need half a kilo of Dex. I've got 330 grams there. Bag. About 170 of that. Should be about there, I'd reckon. Oh, nearly. That'll do us. Ideally measure it out in a bloody nice, easy container, but I thought my normal container was bloody wet, but it's not. It's tipped in the drawer. Anyway, so that's mixed in. Over here, I've split the tin into two halves. This is the standard half. So I mixed it to 7 litres, sorry, to 14 litres, just with the tin of the real ale in here. Transferred 7 litres to there, to half of it. And I've topped it up to 11 litres with some extra water and the half a kilo of the BE2, so it's ready to go. In here I've got 7 litres of the real ale, all the half of the mix is left. To that I'll add this, which will get that straight away below isomerization temperature and stop those stop those hops from continuing to extract any bitterness, and that should get me pretty close to where I want to be. And that's looking to be about 11 and a half litres there, give or take. These aren't exactly accurate, but close enough. So this one is still going to be a little warm. That's okay. I just want to get a quick gravity numbers on these, and I will then go and get these into corny kegs where they will ferment. So there's our standard brew, and I'm going to call that 1040. Now, I did say before I was going to use Nottingham, but I've got written down, you've already gone through and decided what I was doing with these brews, and I was going to reduce it to kit yeast. So I will stick with that. Now, this is appropriate temperature. I'm going to put the yeast, no, I'm going to put the yeast in there. I'll put the yeast in the keg. Don't be silly, John. That's not going to work. Anyway, so 1040 there. So to me, that tastes a little empty. It's fairly bitter, not ridiculously bitter, but you can taste the bitterness over the sweetness of the kit. It is one of the more bitter, extract kits you can get. Let's have a look at. Actually, that's going to need a bit of stir before I put the sample off there. Now this is going to need to cool further before I can get an accurate reading, but just so I can have a bit of a look at it, see what we're looking at. Let's grab one now. I'll let it sit and get a proper reading once it's cooled. It's still, so it's a little bit too warm. Just going to read probably a little bit out. Right, that's showing about 1070. By my calculations last night, I was putting this recipe together, I was estimating about 1075. So that's probably going to be pretty close by the time this cools down to pitching temp. Because at the moment, I'm going to say this is at least 40 degrees. I'm getting nothing on the thermometer, on the stick-on thermometer, which goes to 36. So I will drop the final gravity below in the comments, and I'll probably punch one up here on the screen as well for you to see. As I said, I'm going to let this fella cool now. I've got the lid here. I'll pop the lid on him. Make sure I don't get all that bloody sanitizer in there. I'm just going to let this fella sit here on the bench for the next hour or so to cool, then I'll get it into the keg. But both of these are going to go in and ferment at 20 degrees. They'll get probably 10 days at 20 and a couple of days cold crash. 2 weeks we'll go to bottles, and 6 weeks from there we'll do a taster. So I'll see you very shortly in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Alright folks, it's tasting day on these fellas. Both have come out just a little gassy, which again seems to be an ongoing problem bloody I'm having, and I'm wondering whether it's got something to do with the pressure fermenting, just suppressing the full activity of the yeast, and so it's just not quite finishing in the keg. Something to keep an eye on, but it's only been very minor, but it's just taking a little bit of effort to get a pour on here. But here we are. Try and taste that one with my arm, which doesn't work. Mark the alien would have been able to do it, but I certainly can't. Not as effectively anyway. Anyway, so this fella is the base kit. Done as per recommended by Coopers. That's come from the kits from with Reese. Half tin, 500 grams of Coopers BE2, and kit yeast, dry kit yeast. Original gravity was 1040. It finished at 1013 for 3.5% ABV. So she's mid-strength. And as I said, that's as per the instructions. But this always going to assume with the tins that they're expecting you to add priming sugar, which is going to give you another 0.5% alcohol. So by the kit recipe, you'd be getting a 4% final product. And this fella on the right is the strong Scottish old ale. not Scottish, sorry, strong English old, just a strong old ale. You can see it's considerably darker in colour. And just to refresh here, what we've got, half a tin, a 1.5 tin of the Cooper's amber liquid, half kilo of dextrose, EKG in the boil for about 15 minutes, 28 grams, and pitched 2 packs of London ESB dry yeast, rehydrated for original gravity of 1075. This is probably the second biggest kit-based beer I've done. I've done a Russian Imperial Stout, dressed up from a kit, which was about 9%. So this is certainly the bigger. Final gravity, about 1022, 1020, for somewhere around about 6.7 ABV. Again, that's no priming in the bottle. That's straight out of the fermenter. So let's go straight to the tin. She's nice and clear, lovely copper colour. Now it's funny. This is the real ale. Is the first beer I ever brewed as a home brewer. 28 years ago. And then when I stopped, and when I came back again, what is now, geez, 10.5 years ago, 11 years ago. This was again the first beer I brewed. Don't know why, it just was the first choice, but there she is. So it's got lovely colour. It's nicely carbonated. It's copper with a little bit of a slight reddish hue, as to be expected for straight up pommy ale. It's got a reasonable little head on it. Got no real nose on it. It's fairly restrained. No, of course, that's not terrible. There's a little bit of kit twang there. Not a real lot. I'm imagining it's going to come on a little bit. It'll just increase as I continue to drink it. It's there. And there's not really a lot else going on. The actual, all the flavour seems to be kit twang. It's a little bit hard I guess it's probably a bit hard putting it up there, but that's really all I'm tasting. It's not as vicious as some kits are, but it's a typical Cooper's kit twang, and it's the same flavour. It doesn't matter what the kit is. That kit twang's the same in every, however it is, which is why I always say it's got to be a process thing, because it's the fucking same on every brew. There's a little bit of malt there, a little bit of caramel sweetness. And I said, actually that mouthful had far less of the twang in it than the two before. So yeah, that's actually not come up too badly. Again, I can't rave about it, but anyway, going to leave it a little bit, let it warm up a little bit while we try this fella. And I said, these have been out of the fridge now for probably 10 minutes while I've getting them poured. So they're not super cold, but they're still cool. Certainly a bit cooler than traditional serving temperature for pommy ale. So we'll see what a little bit of time does. This fella, geez, dark. It's crimson. I'm looking. I've got bloody big light behind that, and can't really see much through it. I can see my fingers there, but they're fairly She's fairly dark. It's good red. So actually it's a bloody lovely colour. I'll tell you what, I'd love to be able to get me fucking red ale that colour. Anyway, it's poured a nice sort of light tannish sort of a head, which is holding quite nicely. There is some decent carb there. I said it was just a little gassy, but not anything excessive. I'm getting the kit twang on the nose, and not a lot of anything else. Not picking up any of the 8 EKG. I mean, other than that, it's only bloody amber malt, so I'm not going to throw a lot of aroma. Okay, that's tasty. Layers. Okay, that's finished with a really lovely, sweet, creamy finish on the back end. Ooh. Oh look, there's a little bit of kick twang there, but there's a fairly intense sort of flavour going on, despite there not being any significant additions for flavour. Just simply the amber malt, the amber liquid. Nothing else in there to bring flavour, but it's there. But it's the mouthfeel and the body and the creaminess at the end is just really setting it off. It's big and heavy. There's intense. I wouldn't say intense. It's fairly a solid toffee. Okay, it's more going to the not quite toffee, not quite caramel. It's more like the crust you get on a like on a creme brulee or something like that. Yeah, when you've something like caramel sauce that you've baked and you get that little crust on it. It's that sort of baked caramel sort of vibe. It's sweet, and there's like really light hints of sort of delicate chocolate, delicate coffee. And the coffee comes through, and the stuff comes through like a thick latte. That is really nice. That's really shocked me. I had hopes that was going to come up to be reasonable, but didn't have massive hopes given the I said the lack of input. But that's a bloody nice drop. So yeah, that's a bloody winner. And this is why I'm moving the focus of the Extractaganza to more focusing on this sort of thing, cracking bigger styles and stuff from the kits as opposed to just sticking with the basics. That's a bloody very simple beer. Yeah, and as you've seen from, oh, I didn't really show too much of it, but yeah, and again, that's what I'm looking to do with the new with the new focus with the Extractaganza, is actually have a bit more of a focus on the processes that goes into this, as opposed to just sort of, more just, telling you what's going on and what's happening. Yeah, but that's come up really nice. I can actually feel the some bit of warmth from the alcohol, but it's not noticeable in the actual beer itself. 6.7. It's not massively high, but there's a little bit there, and some of that cream in it might even be coming a little bit from the alcohol edge. But anyway, go back here now. It's just had a little bit longer to sort of sit. It's still fairly cold, but. Yeah, the twang's certainly not as evident in that, but as I said, I think a lot of the flavour is twang related. This certainly shows that this kit can be used to make as a good base to work from, and I always thought it would be. And I said, there's a bit less, there's not too much twang there, so that gives you something to build up on. There's a little bit come across there, but not massive amounts. So anyway, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 on the 0 to 5 scale. Simply because, again, I don't think it's a great beer. I'm not going to let you tell you go and bloody and brew it. But if you do like a classic or a standard sort of pommy ale, certainly a base to use and to work with. And again, I think coming from this may well be something I'm going to work with a little bit more down the track of Extractaganza. Tweak around this sort of idea, maybe even get some grain and stuff in there, so we can really layer up some flavour on this sort of thing. Because for reasons, I've only got this one bottle, so I'm not going to get too much of this, and I think I would have really liked a few more of those. But anyway, you can't win them all. But that's certainly something I can look to revisit down the track, and something along these sort of lines. So guys, that's it. So this is the actual last beer under the current Extractaganza format. If you've seen the chat from a few days back regarding the new process, you'll know what's going on. If you haven't seen it, I'll pop a link up so you can go back and have a look at it. We're looking at sort of taking this out a little bit and focusing more on these sort of beers with the Extractaganza. But either way, if you got any comments or any questions on either of these brews, or brews you do, with the Cooper's Real Ale, stick them down the bottom. As always, Patreons, thanks for your support. Subscribers, excellent. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button down there as well. Get notifications and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's me. Extractaganza number 13 is done and dusted. Next installment, episode, edition, whatever you want to call it, number 14, Extractaganza, is Morgan's Ginger Beer, which I've actually done yesterday, well, from here doing this, so it's probably a couple of days ago when you're actually watching. It's in the fermenter, and that's going to be a very interesting one. So keep your eye out for that. But guys, till I see you again, when we're brewing beer, drinking beer, or talking beer, Good brewing.